Hey, welcome Sleep Mastery students. Patrick DiNicola here with another quick lesson. Today's lesson, we're going to be speaking about the heart and specifically how we can utilize the heart to not only achieve greater rest and relaxation at night, improving our sleep and downstepping that energy, really creating an energy field of us being in the body instead of our mind wandering in the creative or anxious state like I've spoken about and I will continue to speak about. But the heart as a useful tool towards our greater understanding, towards greater production, greater efficiency, greater critical thinking skills. You see, we've very recently discovered this amazing secret that the heart has, and it's been hidden from us in plain sight for many years. And that is that for a long time in our histories, in modern medicine, we have thought of the heart as this sort of like just a pump that is just a muscle, and somehow this muscle creates a field, so a magnetic field. We've known that for a while now, but we always looked at it as some sort of muscle that just pumps heart and pumps blood throughout the body, and very vital in its function, but also replaceable in a certain sense. This is why when people have issues with the heart, there are things like pacemakers, and in the future, if we continued this line of reasoning, I would 100% believe that we would actually have gone into a heart replacement surgery where it would just be a pump that would replace the heart. But what science has revealed very recently is that the heart is so much more wonderful than we ever could have imagined. See, the heart actually has these neurocytes. So they're neuron-like cells that are identical to neurons in every way, shape, or form, but doctors and scientists can't call them neurons because the classification of a neuron, the definition of a neuron, specifically means that it has to be in the brain. And so they call them neurolites or neurocytes. And they function exactly as the neurons in our brain. And we've had this sort of idea that the brain is the master controller of everything that we do. Everything that we think, act, everything that all the communication to the body comes from the brain. The brain tells the heart to pump, tells the lungs to breathe, tells the kidneys to flush, tells the liver to cleanse, tells the digestive tract to move, tells the body to move, how you move your limbs, etc., etc. All of it comes from the brain. That is what we were thinking. And it turns out that with the most recent research, that the communication specifically between the heart and the brain is 80 to 90% of the communication between those two systems is actually coming from the heart. So the heart itself actually influences and tells the brain what to do. Now, if you've studied Eastern medicine or Eastern philosophy and you understand about the different energies of the body, this of course aligns beautifully with our thought processes and the reasonings behind heart-centered breathing, heart-centered meditation, acting from your heart, listening to your heart, all these metaphors that we've had for generations and generations, and still to this day have translated into our everyday lives in the world today. There still are metaphors that we use, but now with the science that has actually proved that the heart speaks more to the brain than the brain speaks to the heart. The heart sends the messages to the brain receives messages, and then starts to dictate some of those messages to the other organs, to the other bodily functions. And so the heart is where everything starts. Everything. The point where life begins is very early on in the womb. Regardless of your thought process on proportional, I don't care about that. The heart, something magical happens when the heart starts to pump. And we haven't been able to quantify, but at some point, when the body inside the womb develops the heart to a certain level, it automatically triggers this just quantum leap forward in evolution within the womb. As soon as the heart starts to generate this bioelectric field and starts to dictate instructions into the cells and into the tissues of the body, magic happens, and the fetus grows in an immense way, and that's where the complexity of the human organism really starts to take shape. But as soon as that heart turns on, that's when the vibrancy starts to come through, and just the human that's growing in the womb really starts to just advance. And so what does all of this have to do with anything? Well, we know now that there are 50 neurocytes, neural-like cells in the brain, 50,000. And we now know that the heart actually sends more information to the brain than vice versa. So that means that if we can connect to these extra 50,000 neurons, that we can actually increase our power generating thought processes. And I believe that this is where ultimately the soul resides. Now, this is my belief, and I believe that this is what dictates the heart itself starting, is that when the baby receives the heart is when the soul enters the body. Now, we're first understanding that the heart is a tool that can be used for mental power. And so when you can increase the amount of neurons that are firing in any given moment, you can increase the efficiency at which you produce and influence the quality of the production that you create. And so too often in our lives, we ignore feelings that we have in the heart. We ignore signs that the heart is trying to tell us. And they are signs, they are thoughts, they are images, they are reasons, they are emotions, they are actions. And so my advice to you is throughout the day, as often as you can, just take a moment and connect with the heart. And you can do it in the form of meditation, or you can do it in the form of just placing your hand on the heart. Anytime you touch a part of your body, you test this out, touch the top of your head, your thoughts and your intentions immediately go to that area. Your sensations are attracted to the area in which the body is being touched. So if you place both your hands on the heart, you're immediately drawing your awareness into that spot of the body. And so you don't need to close your eyes, you don't need to enter into a meditative state. You can just put yourself here. Anytime you come up to a difficult situation, a difficult choice, a challenging problem, or you're just looking to access greater levels of creativity or greater levels of productivity, or you're up against a deadline and your stress levels are through the roof, just connect with the heart for just a moment and just do this. You can do it while you're walking, you can do it while you're driving, you can do it while you're calling. There's no limit to this. And the effects are glorious. The effects can multiply your thought energy, your thought output by tenfold. Because you can consciously use these cells to increase your awareness, to increase your productivity, to increase your level of thinking. And so I will guide those who wish to connect more deeply with their heart through a heart-centered meditation. And this is vital, I think, in decompressing from the day. So one of the first things that I do when I get done with my day, talking on the phone, coaching individuals, connecting with others, it might be some other aspects that you have going on in your life. But when you're done with your work, before you go seek to distract yourself, before you go seek to have some sort of exterior point of pleasure or satisfaction. Just connect with your heart. You can use senses of gratitude, emotions of thankfulness to connect more deeply, or you can just place your hand on the heart. The more you do this, the more powerful it's going to be. If you do it every day consistently, you're going to see this compounded effect. That the more you do it, the more powerful it's going to be. The more powerful you are going to be, the more productive you will be, the more energized and the more liberated you will become. And I also recommend that as part of your nighttime routine, whether you're doing other things that are grounding you and centering you in the present moment, connecting with the heart can really help to center you, to really bring all of those crazy whack-a-mole thoughts that you have going on. I like to call them thought popcorns, where it's just pop, 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 and you can't seem to disconnect, you can't seem to let go, and it's not necessarily a struggle, but it's a point of interest. It's something that you've noticed. Just take a few moments and connect to the heart, or take 5 minutes, or 10, or 30 minutes, however long, however much you want to do it. You will see a huge improvement in your life. You will start to create better relationships. You might heal some limiting beliefs and traumas that are stored in the heart, memories stored in the heart. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to get more in tune with yourself, to get more connected with your body, to get a greater understanding of how all of this works. The human organism is so complex that we're only barely scratching the surface in a scientific manner. We can utilize a lot of these more ancient wisdom traditions to educate ourselves and to educate ourselves on what can be an effective daily practice or daily affirmation or daily set of things. Because as science starts to dive more into the smaller and the quantum and really begin to understand this universe at a really, really level, we're starting to realize that a lot of these wisdom traditions, a lot of these ancient teachings, a lot of the monks, a lot of these gurus, so to speak, the information and the knowledge is 100% lining up with what we are seeing in our reality as we begin to dive in and learn more about our reality. So thank you again for taking the time, and I hope that this has been a helpful conversation and a helpful dialogue, and I look forward to connecting more in the future with you and bringing more of these ideas and practices to you so that you can achieve all you can